His paws slipped, first one, then the other. Stones cracked beneath his weight and tumbled down. The old lion growled, but even he could hear how weak his voice was. He hung from the edge of the cliff, claws sunk into the damp clay that crumbled between his pads. Below him, an abyss. Above him, emptiness. Not a single tree, not a single creature that could help. Only the wind, driving dust across the slope, and loneliness. He no longer roared, just breathed, deeply and heavily. He knew that if he fell now, he would never rise again. He had once been a leader in these lands, just a bit farther south, where the river runs through dry steppes. He ruled over his pride, strong, numerous. His mane had been thick, his gaze fearsome, his body like stone. Young males avoided his path, and lionesses bowed in respect. He chased off jackals, pounced on buffalo, and remembered the taste of victory and blood. But now his paws trembled with exhaustion. His mane had thinned. His claws were dull. Old age does not arrive suddenly. It creeps in. First, you don't notice how long you lie in the shade. Then you stumble by accident. And one day, you wake up, alone, without a pride, without strength, without a future. He had left on his own, refusing to wait until the young males drove him out. He walked for miles, leaving behind the familiar, until he reached the northern cliffs of Utumba. There, among the barren ridges, he found a cave, dark and dry. Since then, it had become his home, his fortress, and one day, his grave in waiting. Each morning, he emerged from the cave and listened to the wind. Sometimes, he remembered the days when his roar frightened entire herds. Now, he hunted rabbits and wild partridges, anything to avoid starving. Aches plagued him. His joints throbbed, but he didn't give up. Then, on that gray evening, he spotted a deer, young, nervous. It had wandered high into the mountains in search of grass between the stones. The lion lowered himself to the ground, focused. He knew this was a chance, perhaps the last one. He lunged forward. Each leap was a struggle. His muscles ached. His paws slipped on the pebbles. The deer darted away, hoofs clattering, and within seconds, it was descending the slope. The lion gave chase without thinking. He was no longer a hunter. He was hunger made flesh. But a stone under his front paw gave way. His body pitched sideways. He tried to hold on, but too late. The fall was short, but enough to knock the air from his chest. He managed to grab a ledge and hung there, stomach pressed against the cold rock face. Below, nothing. Above, hope. He clung there for hours. His claws tore into the dirt. He groaned, growled, pulled himself up, slipped again. Blood ran down his paws. But he didn't let go, even when his body trembled and his mind began to drift beyond the horizon. He kept fighting, to the very end. And then, the unbelievable happened. A lone, dusty vehicle crawled along the trail below. At the wheel was a man, a ranger named Edgar. He had worked in Utumba Park for over a decade. He knew these mountains, knew the animals, and he knew the sounds coming from the cliff were unusual. He stopped. The wind carried a strained growl to him. Edgar stepped out of the car, quietly, without slamming the door. He followed the path, glancing around, until he saw it. A lion, huge, exhausted, hanging on the edge, as if clinging to life itself. Edgar had faced danger before, but never anything like this. He approached slowly, crouching, silent. He spoke softly, as if speaking to a person, and the lion heard him. He lifted his head. Their eyes met, one from the ground, the other from the edge. "I'll help you. Just don't hurt me," Edgar whispered. The lion, breathing heavily, gave the slightest nod. He believed him, and Edgar understood. He had a chance. He knew there was no room for error now. He exhaled, got to his knees, closer to the edge, reached out. His fingers closed around the lion's massive front legs. Coarse fur, strained muscles, sweat and dust. But inside that body, strength and will still flickered. He pulled with all his weight, all his back, as if for the last time. Stones crumbled under his feet. His arms shook. His shoulders burned. The lion braced his hind legs and pushed. In that moment, they seemed to become a single being, a man pulling life from the edge and a beast clinging to the light. The lion slipped onto the ledge, collapsing beside him like a sack of muscle and age. He lay there for a long time, breathing quickly and unevenly. Edgar also collapsed next to him, crawling a little to the side, not out of fear, but out of respect. He didn't know what would happen next. Several long minutes passed. Then, the lion slowly lifted his head. His eyes were clouded with age, but something flickered within them. He looked at Edgar and didn't growl. Instead, he exhaled softly, barely audibly, as if to say, "I understand." He took a few steps forward. Edgar froze, but the lion didn't attack. He came closer, lowered his head to the ground, and bowed. In an animal way, but one any heart would understand. A wordless gratitude. Edgar couldn't help but smile. Gently, holding his breath, he reached out his hand and placed his palm on the lion's shoulder. The lion's back twitched, but not from fear, from the simple shock of being touched kindly again. And they stood like that, two beings, one who had once been king of the savannah, the other just a humble park ranger. But in that moment, they were equals. Then Edgar lifted his hand in a gesture of farewell. The lion understood. He slowly raised his head and let out a quiet, almost musical growl, not of warning, but of farewell. A final song from an old heart. Above the cliffs, the sky cleared. Through the torn clouds, a single ray of sunlight fell. The lion walked away, step by heavy step, without looking back, but with dignity. His path led back, to the slope he called home, to the cave, to the silence. But now he carried a memory, and Edgar stood for a long time. Then he got into his car, glancing once more in the mirror. The lion was still visible in the distance, like a silhouette from an ancient legend. He drove off, knowing this would stay with him forever. We never truly know how we'll act in a difficult moment. Sometimes it feels like we'll fail, turn away, stay silent, and then, suddenly, we move forward. We reach out, we save. If you believe that strength can awaken in people when it's needed most, leave a like and subscribe. These stories matter, not because we are all heroes, but because each of us is more than we think we are.